fantastic tutor, and in today's tutorial happens to be, all right, at the time we are going to be talking about the course PCR271, and we're going to be talking about the conflict analyst type. So we're going to be taking vary from tonight. All right, what has been said, let's all straight into it. So we have okay, so we have PCR 271, PCR 271, and we have conflict handling style. And we have been discussing about conflict handling stages, analysis, and what to do. And today we're going to be taking our bearing from conflict handling styles. Now, there are various forms of ways by which individuals, groups, societies, or nations perceive and respond to arising, all right, conflicts arising from diverse opinions and ideas as well as values. Okay, there are different ways how different groups, different individual, different community respond to diverse conflicting views and opinions, and as well as values and beliefs. Now the behavior and attitude of the parties concerned, the behavior and attitude of the parties concerned usually determined by the success and failure of any conflict, which can describe along these two basics and dimensions. Now let's look at the assertiveness and the cooperativeness. Now these two basic dimensions will what determine the success, the determinant of the success, okay, the determinant of what, the success or failure of any conflict. Okay, all right, can be described, along these two basics, described along these two basics. They are assertiveness, and cooperativeness. Assertiveness and cooperativeness. Now, speaking of assertiveness, this describes the extent to which an individual attempts to satisfy his needs and concern. Okay, the extent, we have individual, all right, the extent to which an individual attempts to what, satisfy his what, his needs. Now, cooperativeness explains the extent to which a person attempts to satisfy his needs and concern, as well as other person's needs. Are we seeing the difference? The extent by which an individual, okay, attempts to what, satisfy his needs and concern, and that of others. And it's very, very true. These are the two determinants. Okay, if an individual is willing to go to the length, all right, if an individual is willing to push to any length just to satisfy his needs, then it is definite that conflict is inevitable. But in a situation whereby an individual is deliberate and intended about meeting his needs and also considering the needs and concern of others, in this kind of situation the chances for conflict is minimal. Okay, now you see that indeed these two basics, okay, that describes the determinant of the success or the failure of conflict in any society among any group. Are we together? Now let's continue. These two basic dimensions of behavior can be applied or defined in the following five. Okay? In the following five conflict handling styles. So now let's see the five conflict handling styles according to our material. We have dominating / competing. This takes place when an individual is very assertive and not cooperative. Okay, so we have the five conflict handling style. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5. So we have competing / dominating. I think I should switch the marker. Competing / dominating. Here, assertiveness is what? Assertiveness is an H. Okay, very high. Now we have accommodating. Accommodating. Here, you are unassertive and cooperative. It is the opposite of competing. When accommodating, you neglect your own concern. As mentioned, green smile killer, that name looks very familiar. Now, as mentioned, that there is an element of self-sacrifice in this conflict handling style called accommodating. Now we have avoiding. Under avoiding, you are unassertive and you are uncooperative. This is what you call sitting on the fence. When they say we no go agree, you are there. Okay? When they say, oh, once you set, you are there, nobody knows where you belong to. Right? It's either you are unassertive to be accommodative, or you are, all right, or you are not cooperative in order to be assertive. You can't be in between. So, but avoiding says you can be in between when it comes to the method of handling conflicts. According to avoiding, you can be in between. Avoiding says you are neither unassertive or you are neither assertive nor cooperative. Not assertive and not cooperative. Okay, not assertive, not cooperating. So we have, you do not immediately pursue your own concern or those of others. you are not even pursuing your own concern and not even pursuing others' concern. So what are you for? That is called avoiding. So we have that as that. Now we have collaborating. Under collaborating, you are both assertive and you are both cooperative. This is getting interesting. Okay? Collaborating. Okay? You are both assertive and cooperative. So we have both assertive and cooperative. Okay, you are both assertive and cooperating. It is the opposite of avoiding. You know, under avoiding now, none of the above. But here, you are doing the both. So just like accommodating is the opposite of competing or dominating, so as well as collaborating is the opposite of avoiding under these conflict handling styles. So we have compromising, which is the last one. You are a partially assertive and partially, all right, this is when you are partially assertive and you are partially cooperative. That is compromising. So you are partially assertive okay, and partially cooperating. So we have that as that. Now let's continue. Now we have two model. Now model 2. The second model grouped conflict handling style into 3 major headings. All right. So this is more like the model 1 category, and under this conflict handling style, we also have the model 2 that has what grouped conflict handling style into 3 major heading or classification, in as much as approaches to conflict vary from individual to individual. Now this model 2 talks about CHS in 3 classification: avoidance / denial, confrontation / fighting, and problem solving. Permit me to raise the board so we can take more points. Okay, now let's continue. Now under the model 2, classifies conflict handling style into 3. Okay, first it says avoidance / denial. Avoidance / denial. We have confrontation / fighting. And we have problem solving. Problem solving. Now, when we say avoidance / denial, what are we talking about? This second model, okay, that we are talking about grouped these three classification, and it says this is the common way to handle or deal that conflict does not exist even though we are hurt or angry. Okay, this is the common way where we just pretend to let things slide even though we are hot and angry. Okay, that's avoidance denial. So we have the confrontation and fighting. In this type of approach, in which some people, group, nations, or states might decide to what? Slug out, okay, with other party in conflict situation. They threaten but attack, yell, all right, insult, and okay, disagree with other parties' point of view. Okay, like it says here, confrontation. Okay, you take it to the party which you are in conflict with and confront and fight. That is another way of handling conflict. And we have the problem solving method. Now, this problem solving, parties in conflict listen with the intent, okay, conflict and attack underlying elements in conflict and attack the issues. Now, the party adopting this style normally should respect for differences and look for ways to resolve problem. Like it says, look for ways to resolve problems. Okay, so that is it. Now let's see what we call conflict analysis. Conflict analysis. Here we have, it is a critical review, interpretation, explanation of what is observed and recorded about a conflict situation. Are we together? A what? Critical review, okay, interpretation, critical review, interpretation, and explanation of what is observed of or about the conflicting situation. Now, conflict analysis. A process by which the root causes, the dynamics, the issue, fundamentals of conflict is being examined. Talking about analysis, is being reviewed, unraveled through the use of various mechanisms for proper and better understanding of conflict from several perspectives. And this is what we call analysis, breaking things down into bits, all right, then rearranging to know which fits and which doesn't. So we have that on conflict analysis. Okay. Seems like we've taken this before. Miss Regina, have we talked about stakeholders before now? Or was it in the other course? Miss Regina, are you there? Have we discussed stakeholders? I think we discussed yesterday. Okay, yesterday. Oh yes. I remember now. Yes, I remember now. Now let's talk about conflict tracking. Conflict tracking. When we say conflict tracking, it is the process, like we said, tracking. The process that involves monitoring, observing, and recording. All right? Observing, and recording the trend. Recording the trend of change and continuity in what? The conflict process. Trend of change and continuity in conflicts. Okay, so we have that as that, and we have an acronym, all right, called Crescent. No, I beg your pardon. That was Crescent, not Crescent. Crescent. Now, what is Crescent in full? It's an acronym for Conflict Resolution Stakeholders Network. Resolutions Stakeholders Network. Okay? Conflict Resolution Stakeholders Network, CRISNET. And talking about, all right, conflict analysis, there are some analytical tools used by experts. Okay, we have the tools like timeline. When we say timeline, it is said to be a graph that shows the event plotted against a particular time scale. All right, that's we have analysis tool. So we have timeline, and timeline is said to be a graphical. Okay, it's a graph that shows events. So let's just look at it's a graph, and this graph shows what? Events. And these events that are actually plotted against a particular time scale. Plotted against, alright, we have time scale, a particular time scale. Please, if you're on the stream and you have to smash the like button, please do well to do that. Subscribe to the channel And do well to reach out to us if you need further assistance as it is pertaining to your program in the National University. And don't forget that we are there to provide useful and helpful resources, most especially towards exam, all right, preparations. And for those of us that might need further assistance with other things, do well to reach out to us on www.tutoril.com. Now, about, all right, timeline helps to what? Clarify. Timeline helps to what? Clarify and understand each side's perception of event, and also to what? Facilitates easy identification of events that are most important to each side. Now, don't forget, the reason why there's even conflict at first is because there is a problem, there's a matter that both sides do not see eye to eye. Okay? Do not see eye to eye. Now, so timeline will now help to clarify and understand each side's perspective. Alright, each side perception of events. Okay, and this will now help to identify events that are most important to each side. And with that, problems are solved. So we have that as that. So that we call the ABC triangle. Okay, the ABC triangle, the A stands for attitude, the B stands for behavior, and the C stands for context environment. Attitude, behavior, and we have context, environment. Okay, context, environment. Speaking of attitude, we are talking about willingness to change. Okay, fixed positions. Behavior, talking about violence, agitation, demands, and plea. And speaking of context, we are talking about the background check, the background look. And we have that as that. Also, one of the analysis too is what we call the onion/donut method of analysis. The onion/donut method of analysis. All right, onion/donut method of analysis. Now, this analysis here of this method is also a graphical tool based upon the analogy of an onion and its layers. Onion and its layers. Okay, the outer layer contains the positions, all right, of the parties' wants. The outside layer. Underlying these are the interests of the parties. Outside layers. There are so many layers when it comes to onions. Okay, then the third layer is the core cause of the conflict situation. That is, most important needs to be satisfied. Okay, so we have that as that. I think on this field, on this note, we'll call it a wrap for today, and we'll take it up from our next class, and as we go deeper into the course. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I believe you have been able to gain a thing or two in today's class. Please let's do well to keep our notes up to date and submit them to the appropriate quarters. I look forward to seeing you all in subsequent tutorials. Do you have a wonderful evening. Bye.